Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Video Analytics 101. Do you remember a few years ago, if you went to an exhibition, you saw almost everywhere these fancy heat mapping videos. If you go to an exhibition today, they're all gone. Where did they go? All right, so today we're talking about heat mapping. What is heat mapping? Well, let's take a look over here. Heat mapping is if you have a regular image and on this image you have an overlay that shows you where the most activity was in this scene. And that produces these cool, nice videos that we see here where the red zones are a lot of activity, the green zones there's not so much, and blue is very little activity. And as you can imagine, this is a perfect application for exhibitions. It's super nice for marketing. It is very visual. It looks super cool, and it's actually it looks pretty surprising that you can do that. So super cool. But as I mentioned before, today if you go to an exhibition, you will notice that this is almost completely gone. Even to the point where we still have old tenders and RFPs that demand this feature. And vendors are really struggling to deliver it because it's just not around anymore. So why is that? Well, the reason is that this is a typical feature that demos well, but doesn't provide any value to the end user. Why is that? Well, let's take a look again at the same video. So you see all these areas that are like hot and cold and so on. The thing is, the way that typical users work is they need to derive actionable information out of this. And if you just have colors, it's very hard to do that. It's nice to have these colors, but how do you actually derive any action from that? It doesn't tell you how long people stayed there. It doesn't tell you how many people stayed there. So what do you actually do with it? The only thing that it helps you is you see, okay, in this part of the store, there was a little bit more activity than in this part of the store. And if you notice in this fisheye view, it becomes more activity here towards the end because there the pixel density just becomes more dense. Because the way these applications work is essentially it analyzes each pixel individually. In this example, it could be also done on a block basis, so it's more efficient, but typically it's on a pixel basis. And basically, the software looks at, is this pixel moving or not? So is the activity there or not? And based on that, it colors the video. And then you get these cool things out of it. The software doesn't know that this is a person. It doesn't know if it's a shopping cart. It doesn't know if it's the same person staying there. So all this information, all these KPIs, these actionable KPIs are missing. And without this, it's really, really hard for users to derive any value out of it. And if you make a survey in the industry, I'm pretty sure what would come out is that this kind of feature drew the most interest or a lot of interest of end users, but it was hardly sold. Especially in video analytics, there are a lot of these kind of features out there that look cool, but that provide not any value. And this is the reason why it's gone. Nobody is doing that anymore. Heat mapping is just not a thing. But where do we go from here? So what can we provide that provides actual value? Well, actually it's going towards occupancy. So instead of having these fancy colored things, you want to create data that's actionable in dashboards, for example, or in other tools. And what we can provide there is we can provide the information how many people were in this area. We can also provide information which direction did these people go, and even how long people stayed in this area. And this is really actionable information. And the output of that is usually not such a heat map. It doesn't look so fancy, but it's actually data that you can use to derive business value out of. And this is the reason why heat mapping is gone and occupancy is coming. All right, thanks for watching. This was another episode of Video Analytics 101. It was great to have you here. Please don't forget to subscribe like every time, and otherwise, see you next time.